Good morning, stone fabricators. It's Don Duran with NSI Solutions. Welcome to our second video in the introduction to the Steam Phantom 2.0 series. Today what we want to do is assemble the new electric Steam Phantom versions. If you watch the unboxing video, you'll know we have two versions now, Light and Deluxe, and we'll go over the specific features of each in a separate video. But when you purchase a Steam Phantom, you obviously need to specify or order Light or Deluxe, and then 5/8 thread for your grinder polisher or M14. Now 99.9% of everything in the US will be 5/8. There's 5 different power supply options. So you have the air, like we've always had, center water feed Makita polisher, which we've always sold in Europe, the electric Makita, the same Makita we've always used, but there's also a Metabo and a Milwaukee option. And your box will be marked with which one that this kit will fit. Now the kits are very similar across the board, but the hardware kits and attachment kits that come with them are customized to the different grinder. Okay, so we've cleared off the table. We just have the 3 electric grinder options, and we'll put the exact model numbers in the description or in a graphic or something, so you'll know what they are, the ones that work with this new Steam Phantom 2.0. The Makita is the same as it's always been, the SJS1, and this is an SJS2. Each kit is customized for the grinder or polisher. You get the attachment hardware, anything else you need. The electrics use an external water supply, a new upgraded spray shield, your SL3 kit, which we'll pull out at the end. And let's do a deluxe, since how that was what we unboxed. We're gonna run the Makita straight through from beginning to end, as well as squaring it up. And then we'll go over the differences with the Milwaukee and Metabo, and we'll put some time stamps or chapters in there or something so you can jump around and get the information you need. This is what we're going to use for our official assembly instructions for a while. Probably put some written instructions eventually on our website, but I think most people are not reading a 20-page instruction manual. Anyway, let's zoom the camera up and so you can get a better view and assemble the new Steam Phantom 2.0. So here's the Makita grinder. This is an SJS2 model. Again, we'll put the exact model numbers in the description. Here's the mounting kit for it. You can see, list the Makita grinder with the model numbers and the contents of the entire kit that comes with the package. You get the clamps, which we don't need for this. The gauge blocks are in there. Mounting plate assembly, arbor spacer, your external water hose, your splash guard assembly, your GFCI, and then miscellaneous mounting hardware. So all the kits are customized depending on what grinder you're using. Let's go ahead and open this up. We won't need these to assemble it. I'm going to set this stuff out of the way. There's your hardware, your arbor spacer, and your mounting plate. Now notice the mounting plate, and it's probably hard to see on camera, it says Classic Makita in air. They're all marked what they fit. So open this hardware up. There we go. And we'll remove these screws like always. For the Makita, you need a 3mm Allen wrench to remove those. And you can save those if you ever need to put it back together. Now, on your adapter plate, take an 1/8" Allen wrench and back these screws out so they don't protrude. These come pre-installed with Loctite, so they're a little bit stiff, but you don't want them to stick through at the beginning. These screws are used to adjust the angle at the end. Now, one thing to notice on this grinder, there's a casting number right here, which is going to cause this plate to ride up a little bit. You can either take a file and file that off, or we can adjust the angle at the end. So let's leave it for now and we'll show you how to adjust it. You want to install this plate with this V notch up and the text and the head of the set screws on the back side. So flip it over, you get 4 new screws. It's the same 3mm Allen wrench. So snug those down and don't go crazy here. Those are aluminum castings that we're screwing into. Now, on your seam phantom, the mounting screws are already installed, so you need to remove those, and those are a 5/32 Allen wrench. The nuts are captured. They will fall out, but you don't need to hold them on the back side. So you want to take your grinder, and that plate will sit right in the recess here. Notice there's little machined recesses for the set screws to keep from marring your flat surface. So this is probably the most awkward part. Okay, so let's get one of the nuts back into the square cutouts. Hold this up. Kind of trying to do this backwards, so and as always with any kind of pattern, you don't tighten everything up till you get it all together. Okay, a little bit awkward, but they're in. Tighten those up. Again, this is the 5/32 Allen. And then back to the 1/8, put those in all the way so that they won't like vibrate out. Like I said, they come pre-installed with Loctite, but I just put them in as far as they can go without really tweaking everything. So now your grinder's mounted. Let's go ahead, and again, we'll try and do this backwards. We'll install the spray shield, and you get 6 accessory screws in the kit. This is an 1/8" wrench. And the ball end wrench will definitely help here, or a little short guy. So snug those down, hit them with your calibrated torqualizer. They don't need to be super tight. By the way, that's a blatant Vice Grip Garage reference. Now let's install our water hose. 2 screws for this. So these 4 screws and the 2 screws that you get for this are all the same. So there shouldn't be any problems mixing those up. And then we can attach the water hose to the spray shield here. Now this is a 3/32 Allen, and I just use a plier, by the way. Pro tip, Knipex plier wrench. Awesome shop tool. Knipex, if you're watching, I could use some more. And no, they didn't send that to me. So there's just a nut on the inside. There are washers on both sides. Okay. Slide these together and put them back together the way they came apart. Back through the hole. Install the washer on the inside. And put the nut back on. Okay. Last step would be to install your SL3 adapter. Put on your arbor spacer and your SL3 adapter. And for that, I usually use a little crescent wrench. You can hold the arbor lock and just snug it on. So that is a completely assembled, Makita driven Seam Phantom 2.0 Deluxe. Now, to square these up, you want to take a square and put it right in here against your SL3 adapter. And it's really hard to do this way, but to me it seems like it's about right. The best way is to try it and then check the stone. But if you do want to change the angle, it's very simple. You loosen up these 4 screws that you use to attach the plate, and then you can use your 1/8 inch wrench against the set screws to push the plate around, push the top out or in or whatever, and then re-tighten the screws. Now, ideally, you want your seam tightest at the top without being too open on the bottom, you know, like this. So perfectly square is what a lot of people are happy with. Personally, I like mine to seam just a little bit open on the bottom, so I know the top touches first. Also, side to side is something that a lot of people don't think about. When you put a turbo pad on, so put that on. You know, when you're grinding with this and it's cutting, this is your lead edge, this side, and you want that side to touch first. If the back end drags, you'll get more chipping. As the turbo comes up through the stone, it'll blow little microchips out of the top. So it's best if it's perfectly square or the lead edge touches first, and then this direction if you're square or the top is tight and the bottom is slightly open.
And remember to always use GFCI protection.
So the Milwaukee attachment is slightly different. Again, you get the kit specified for Milwaukee Grinder, listing the model number and the contents. I'll go over the differences here. We don't need the gauge blocks yet. You'll notice the plate is a little different. The mounting obviously is similar, but it's made to fit the Milwaukee. You get a T20 Torx wrench, and then your arbor spacer, and we will open this up. You get the same 6 accessory mounting screws. You get some little red washers. There's your 6 accessory mounting screws and your 4 grinder mounting screws. You'll need a Phillips screwdriver, and you want to take this piece that's part of the quick release guard. You want to take that off. So that's a Phillips screw. You can take that off and save it if you ever put it back together. Now, there's a little spring right here. Just leave it. That's fine. That won't be in the way. You get a T20 wrench to take this one apart. Get all these started. Milwaukee still believes in lock washers, so save those. Play some nice hold music here. Okay, all those screws are out. So the plate, again, the V goes to the top of the grinder, and the writing and the head of the set screws goes so that you'll be able to see them when it's mounted. Again, take your 1/8 inch wrench, back these out so that they're not protruding to get started as like a base position for your angle when you start. Now with the Milwaukee, you get these little red spacer washers, and you want to put the large ones at the bottom and the small ones at the top mounting holes. And then you get 4 metric screws again, and you just attach your plate like this. On this grinder, it's the same 3mm Allen wrench. Get all that to line up, and there's the 3. And give those a snug. And there you go. That plate's mounted, and the rest is exactly the same. You mount this to the seam phantom exactly the same. Same spray shield, same P-clamp, SL3 adapter with your arbor spacer. Okay, so for the Metabo grinder, slightly different kit. Again, for Metabo grinder, list the contents. Let me get this stuff out of the way from the Milwaukee. Let's set those out of the way. Notice you get a thicker arbor spacer with the Metabo. Again, a customized mounting plate. This is a T25 wrench because the Metabo screws are a little larger. And you get your metric mounting hardware and your accessory mounting hardware again. So on the Metabo, this is part of the quick release guard. You want to get this off. That screw there in the corner holds that on. Take that one off first. So once that screws out, this is loose, but it's held by a little spring right there. Pull that spring back with something and slide this out. There we go. Get that out. Now you can leave that spring in, show you what to do with that in a minute, and then get these other 4 screws out or remove these other 4 screws. Okay, your mounting plate says Metabo right on it. Let's back the set screws out so that we will start at a nice flat base position when we get this all assembled. Now, this spring, you just have to pull it out of the way and get your mounting plate underneath it. So if we just lift this back and slide it under, you're good to go. And that's backwards. So flip it, text so you can read it all assembled. There we go. And if you want to see, that spring is still on top there, but it's not interfering with this and it won't get in the way for anything else. So you can install your metric mounting hardware here. Now for the Metabo, this is going to use a 4mm wrench instead of the 3. Give them a snug with the torqualizer. And there you go. Now that grinder is ready to mount to the Seam Phantom 2.0 exactly like the Makita.
And remember to always use GFCI protection.
So fabricators, today we assembled the new Seam Phantom 2.0 Deluxe to a Makita electric grinder, and we showed you how to install a Milwaukee electric grinder and a Metabo electric grinder. In the next video, we'll show you how to do air. It's kind of like the old Seam Phantom, a little bit different. We never know how to end these videos, so let's just go with cheers.